Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a wonderful day. In today's video we are going to be talking about the selection, and welcome to book chat number 2 of the selection. If you like my content here, yes, because there is a variety, please hit that subscribe button, make the red button turn gray, turn on the notification bell so you will know each and every time I upload or go live, and always check back on my community tab because I'm always asking you questions so you can participate in the conversations and the content. So guys, the selection has me emotional, but before I tell you why, I'll just read you the back of the book again. But if you haven't checked out our first book chat about the selection, I suggest you do that before you watch this video. I will either have it linked up in the cards or down below in the subscription box. And if you have any book recommendations, you can leave them in the comment section as well. So the back of the book says, for 35 girls, the selection is a chance of a lifetime. The opportunity to be swept up in a world of glittering gowns and priceless jewels. To live in a palace and compete for the heart of the gorgeous Prince Maxon. But for America's singer, being selected is a nightmare. It means turning her back on her secret love with Aspen, who is a caste below her, and leaving her home to enter a fierce competition for a crown she doesn't want. But then America meets Prince Maxon and gradually begins to realize that the life she always dreamt of may not compare to the future she never imagined. Okay, so in this video we're going to be discussing chapters 6 through 10, and y'all, like I said, this has made me feel all types of ways. I even cried reading this next part. But we're gonna get into my poll questions. That's why I said always check on my community tab, because I want y'all to be involved in these discussions, and I'm so thankful that you guys were involved in this discussion. So the first poll question I asked on my community tab was, would you marry for love or money? So 63% of you said love, 13% of you said money, and 25% of you said both. So I was shocked by the poll, because I honestly thought in my heart of hearts that more of you would have said both, but majority of you said love, which honestly, if I'm thinking about it, if I had to answer this, I would say love too. And the reason why I would say that is because I feel like when you love somebody, you'll work hard to get where you guys both want to be if you both are on the same page and if you communicate well. So I agree with the poll. The second question I asked on my community tab was, would you want to be royalty? And the comment that was left was, I think it would be cool to be royalty, but at the same time it would be too much to put up with when you consider all the rules that you have to follow. And I would have to agree with that. Yes, as we can see. So but then I'm also thinking about, what could I do with my royalty platform if I was royalty? Like, being royalty, you have the biggest platform in the world, and I feel like you can create a lot of change. But just if you're not royalty, you can create change too. So I feel like for me to be royalty, there would have to be a happy balance of the rules I have to follow, and also the changes I would want to see in the world if I was going to be royalty. There would have to be a healthy balance of both for me to be royalty when I think about it. But like I said, I thank you all for participating in the questions and the polls. It makes these discussions a lot of fun. There was also another comment that I wanted to read that was left in the comment section of the book chat video. This comment says, "The selection reminds me of Princess Diaries and What a Girl Wants with Amanda Bynes, because the average girls are suddenly upgraded to a higher social class and are expected to a certain type of guy," which I would have to agree with this as well. This does kind of remind me of What a Girl Wants and Princess Diaries, but the only thing about Princess Diaries, she was already born into royalty. She just didn't know it. They told her later in life. America, in this situation, she was not born into royalty. She's a caste of a 5, which is not the best caste, but it's also not the worst caste. She's 3 away from the bottom. But being a part of the selection will give her an upgrade. Yes, that is true, because even if she doesn't become the one that wins Princess, even if she doesn't become the one that wins Prince Maxon's heart, her social class will change. It won't change her family's social class because they will still remain a 5. But it will change America's social class specifically because she will be bumped up from a 5 to a 3. But if she wins the selection and becomes the one that Prince Maxon chooses, she and her family will automatically become 1. The only way her family is benefiting right now that she's in the selection process, the longer she stays, they get a check every week. But if she leaves and does not win America's family status, they will still be a 5, but America will be upgraded to a 3. So for her family to reap all the benefits of the selection, she has to win. She has to win so they all can be upgraded to a 1. But if she doesn't win, they will get a check as long as she's there once a week. But she will become a 3 and they will remain 5s. But the reason why the selection has me emotional is because America doesn't want to be there. And I feel like her family pressured her into entering the selection, which they did. They actually bribed her. But I get it's going to benefit her family because they need the money, so I understand that. But I don't believe in you should be doing something that makes you unhappy. And the fact that Aspen, her secret love, dumped her and encouraged her to be in the selection, but he was caught hugging another girl as she was leaving the state to go to the selection, I just feel heartbroken for her. So now America's gone. She doesn't know what's going on between Aspen and Brienne. Brienne is the same caste as Aspen, so they're both 6s, which is below a 5. But I still wonder why Aspen told America to go. If he really wanted to be with her and really wanted to marry her, why would he tell her to go? I understand that he would want a better life for her, but does he really love her now that he's hugging up with some other girl is my biggest question. Now, America and the girls are the other 34 ladies are going off to meet Prince Maxon, and there are a bunch of women from all castes, but in the selection process there are only 3 5s, so it's America and 2 other girls. Now these girls have been described as blonde, brown-headed girls, so there's a mix of hair colors, eye colors, and skin tones. So he has a wide variety of girls to choose from. In particular, America has met a girl that she's bonded with. Her name is Maggie. No, the girl that America has bonded with, her name is Marley, and she's described as a blonde with brown eyes, and she's a 4, so she's one caste above America, and she's from Kent. So her name is Marley. And then she's also met Ashley. Ashley is another blonde, but she has blue eyes and she's a 3. Now there is one person that America does not like. Her name is Chesley Newsom. She's from Claremont and she's a 2. She's mean. She talks back to people and she feels entitled, but she's a 2. But the thing that gets me about this selection process, which it reminds me of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and if you're into that show, The Bachelorette actually starts soon. But the thing that gets me is that America's looking at all these people thinking that these people are better than her, but I feel like America shouldn't have entered the selection. Not only because she didn't want to and she felt as though she was forced into it. I feel like if you're going to go through a process like this, you need to have confidence. Like, confidence is going to be your key to success throughout this whole process. And I feel like America lacks the confidence for this. Putting aside that she didn't want to and she's only doing this for the betterment of her family, if I take all of that out of the situation, I just feel like America's not confident enough to do this. And America Mother bothers me so much. Like, she bothers me because it's like, she's your daughter and I know you want what's best for your daughter, but at America's send-off, her mother was like, do what they tell you, mind your manners, and stay as long as you possibly can. What happened to the I love you and I'm so proud of you? Like, what happened to those things? Her mother didn't say any of that. Her father, on the other hand, I like him because he said at America's send-off, no matter what the outcome is, you will always be a princess to me and I love you. Now that's what your child wants to hear. They don't want to hear what the mother said, because what happened to the mother saying I love you and thank you for doing this and I'm proud of you? She told the girl, I just knew you were special. Like, did you not think America was special before she was selected for the selection? Like, come on. Like, really, that part broke my heart. Like, it really just broke my heart that America's mother is only seeing the benefit of the selection for the family, but she's not looking at how this selection process has affected America. Granted, nobody in the family knows that America had this 2-year secret relationship with Aspen. I understand that because it is against the rules or laws of the country, but I understand they don't know. But still, have some compassion for your child. Make her feel loved. Make her feel like no matter what she does, you're going to love her unconditionally. And that's what I feel America Mother lacks. So they get on the planes to go to the palace. And when they get to the palace, all the girls get makeovers. Some of them get their hair dyed. Some of them get their hair trimmed. They get their nails done. They get a whole new wardrobe, the whole thing. America's like, you're not touching my hair. You're not dyeing my hair. You're not putting any paint on my nails or anything like that. She's not even down for the makeover. Which I feel as though if America's going to be a part of the process, I understand she doesn't want to be, and I understand how she feels that you shouldn't have to change yourself. People should like you just the way you are. But going into it, you have to be flexible to the things that are going to go on in this process. And I don't see, as of right now that I'm on chapter 10, I don't see America being flexible to the process. Everything about this process is a fight for America because she doesn't want to be a part of it. And I feel bad for her that she is a part of something that she doesn't want to be a part of. Like, I feel bad for that. I really do. But now that she's there, I feel as though America should be putting her best foot forward, if I'm being 100% honest. So she did let them add layers to her hair. I'm glad they didn't dye her hair or she didn't allow them to dye her hair, because America is a redhead. And redheads are hard to come by. There's not a lot of people in the selection or just in the world in general with red hair. And I feel like that is America's distinction from the rest of the girls, because most of them are blondes and browns and brunettes and all the shades in between. And America stands out because she's a redhead. So I'm glad she stood her ground for them not to dye her hair. But she did allow them to trim it and give her some highlights and some layers in her hair. So that is good. And she allowed them to paint her toes, but she didn't get her nails painted. That's a whole thing I don't understand. But fast forwarding, America's now in this big room in the palace. She has 3 maids and all of that. She's had a good dinner, which involved steak. But as she's going to sleep at night, this is where I start to feel bad and get emotional. America has a panic attack, thinking about all the things she left behind, thinking about Aspen, thinking about how they left things, because they really didn't have a good conversation about why he did what he did. He sort of kind of said that the military draft was coming up and he didn't want to marry her, knowing that entering the military takes you away from your family for 4 years. But then at her send-off, he's hooked up with another girl that he never even got a chance to explain what the other girl was about. So they kind of left things with a lot of things unsaid. So I feel bad about that. And then she's leaving her family for the first time. That's scary in itself. And America doesn't have friends because she was homeschooled and she worked with her family as a musician and a singer, but she doesn't really have friends, so she's never been around a whole bunch of girls, so this is all new to her, and it freaked her out and she had a panic attack. And she tries to leave the palace just to get some fresh air, but the guards stop her because they're not allowed to leave the palace or go outside without permission. And then she hears this voice. It's the voice of Prince Maxon, and he's like, let her out, go. And the guards let her out into the garden of the palace, and he sees America crying, and he sits down to talk to her and try to comfort her. But America's mean. She's like, no, I don't need you to have them let me out every day. He offered to tell the guards, like, at least let her out once a day, or anytime she wants to go outside, let her. And she's like, no. She thinks he's stuck up. She thinks he's unattractive, which I don't know how she would know that. It's like nighttime, it's dark. How can you see what he looks like? You didn't even get a chance to get to know him. None of the girls have met him yet because they just got there and they were going to meet him the next day. They gave them the day to settle in before they meet him. So technically, this portion, she wasn't even supposed to meet him alone yet, but he heard her crying and saw her trying to get out, so he's trying to be comforting. But this is the part that struck me the most. Prince Maxon says, my parents were married in this way, meaning they were both married through this selection process, because Prince Maxon's mother was a 4 when she met Prince Maxon's father. But I found this to be beautiful. He says, my mother and father were married this way and are quite happy. I hope to find happiness too, to find a woman that all of Ilia can love, someone to be my companion and to help me entertain the leaders of other nations. Someone who will befriend my friends and be my confidant. I'm ready to find a wife. Now I find that to be beautiful. That he's not just doing this because it's his responsibility to the nation to find a wife in this way. He really wants a wife to be his friend, his confidant. I think anybody would want that, to be honest. That is something I look for. I want the person that I marry someday in the future to be not only my friend, but my partner. So I understand Prince Maxon's heart in this, and I wish America would see his heart. Maybe this isn't the most conventional way to find a wife, or if this was a princess, the most conventional way to find a husband. But it's something, and everybody has their ways of doing things. I don't think we should shoot them down, but at least try to understand where they're coming from. I think America needs to open her mind a little bit. I understand that she's been working and she's been sheltered and she feels like this whole process is unfair, but she needs to have an open mind. America says, something in his voice struck me. There wasn't a trace of sarcasm. This thing that seemed like a little more than a game showed to me was his only chance of happiness. He couldn't try for a second run of girls, and well, maybe he could, but how embarrassing. He was so desperate, so hopeful. I felt my distaste for him lessen marginally. So after having this private conversation and Prince Maxon is sharing his heart and his thoughts about the selection, she maybe is going to start warming up to him. We'll have to see how that goes. But I don't know. America, she needs to be softened a little bit. And maybe that will come from Prince Maxon, or maybe somehow Aspen will come back. I'm not necessarily sure. But if I had to say right now, based on what I've read so far, I was rooting for Aspen when I started reading, but now I'm rooting for Prince Maxon, to be honest, because he seems so genuine. I don't think he really cares that he's a prince. I really think he's just looking for that companion and that friendship and someone to be beside him, and I think that's what anybody's looking for, whether they're a prince or not. So I hope America tries to get the most out of this experience, whether she wins or not. Okay, so the question for this video will be, would you be open to falling in love with somebody? Would you be open to falling in love if the circumstances were different? And that's the question for this video. I will have more questions and polls up on my community tab after this video comes out. So check back to join in the discussion on the community tab or in the comment section of this video. Remember, I'm always thinking of you, sending my love, and bye for now.